Hold on. Okay. Is Florida not the South?
Yeah, Florida also includes Miami.
Florida has passed California and New York for the cost of living.
Okay.
So
yes, because they got the OnlyFans actors over there.
Is Florida a Republican? Well, I mean,
yes.
What exactly are you trying to say?
Okay, in your submission, you said the South has a lower cost of living. And that's just not what it is. So the fact of the matter is,
I said majority of the states in the South have a lower cost of living compared to California. Is that not what I said?
Can I land? So
some of this, California,
I just want to land.
New York,
it's like Chicago, and say, well, in Florida,
just let me land.
The city in Florida has a higher.
Hey, you just gotta let me land, right? So I don't care if Republican or Democrat. Yeah, so Republican or Democrat, I don't really give a fuck. I kind of like Trump because he's just like, he's a businessman.
Nigga, Trump don't like you. Nigga, Allahu Akbar, nigga.
I can care less, yo.
Allahu Akbar,
it shouldn't be that personal.
Trump
it shouldn't be that personal.
None of y'all, because y'all broke. Y'all not even up there with Trump. This ain't nothing to do with white and black, nigga. This is about poor or rich. What are you
exactly. And it should.
I'm trying to get rich, and I can get richer with Trump.
Okay, so we're not having a conversation.
I can get richer under Trump.
Right. So it shouldn't be this personal, right? So you have to understand things for where you're at, right? So I'm from Florida, born and raised, right? This is a Republican state. It should be led by Republicans. Why? Because we do the best on the Republicans, right? So this one crazy thing that some Democrat leaders just try to shoot down, and I'm kind of scratching my head. Why? So why would the governor, which is a Republican, want to end property taxes, but then some Democrats don't think that they could benefit from not having property taxes? See, that's when I see that politics is a bunch of crock shit, right? Because the rich Democrats that are in politics, they're not true Democrats. They're not struggling. They're not trying to get by. They aren't the American people who they represent, right? These people can pay their property taxes with a swipe of a pen, with a swipe of a card, right? Why are they so cocky and pompous that they will let their party affiliation?
Are you saying?
Oh, I'm going to end here to let you know what I'm saying.
You're making your
listen, sir.
But now
sir,
I'm not understanding.
you're wrong. Hold on, you're wrong. So my thing is, how
you still haven't said how I'm wrong.
Listen, I don't know is it the zestiness or what it is that make you want to argue with me, but I'm just trying to land.
Understanding what you're saying,
okay,
because
so just let me land.
Your submission is that
but you're stuttering. You have a list. Can I land?
Absolutely nothing to do with.
Can I land?
Why are we here doing this here? This is
I don't know why he's doing this. Yeah, this is weird.
We are a company here with Scott and Adam, and this is their room. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. So Trump. Yeah. So Trump isn't dying. Let me show you how. So just in my state, they have Republican and Democrats. Most people are saying, hey, no property taxes is a great thing. This would help most of the American people that own a home, right? Not too fast. The Democrats are saying, even though this is a good thing, you know what? We're going to vote against it because we just have to.
Here's a clue to your I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't know because you didn't think that you had to investigate or inspect, what if you left a gap of your lapse of judgment? Like, in other words, like
put the money in the foundation, so there's this settlement issue with that. There's issues. Oftentimes, having seen the bank side, is the liquidation event is an expense, not that you get 40% of anything. You get
There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs, enhance hour after hour thy vigilance. Intense and keen turn inward, miss no atom of analysis. Sixth, on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind. So like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next, still that ecstasy prolong, thy meditation steep and strong. Slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen act. Last, all these things in one are powered, time that the midnight blossom flood. The oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. If thou restrain the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling root, discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Pierce to the heart, I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere. Thy radiance that rolls afar, O brother of the silver star. Krali, ha-ha.
pam pam. I am a man. Do as thou wilt, as a great God can. Oh pan, yo pan, yo pan, yo pan, yo pan pan. I am awake in the grip of the snake. The eagle slashes with beak and claw. The gods withdraw. The great beast comes. Eopan, I am born to death on the horn of the unicorn. I am Pan, Eopan, Eopan, Pan, Pan. I am thy mate, I am thy man, goat of thy flock, I am gold, I am God. Flesh to thy bone, flower to thy rod, with hoofs of steel I race on the rocks, through solstice stubborn to equinox. And I rave and I rape and I rip and I rend, everlasting world without end. Mannequin maiden, maiden man, in the might of Pan, Eopan, Eopan, Pan, Eopan. There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow. So that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observers entity. Wash every thought that springs in
Hello?
So he seems to be able to pick the candidates that he wants, and that selection power seems to be diminishing somewhat based on the primaries. I think that's what we were talking about. His approval ratings are low now, mostly I would say because of the economy and the war. So if those are aspects of Trumpism, the power to pick candidates and even pick winners.
That's not true.
And well, I think that's what Trumpism is: the power, his popularity, and the state of the economy, which is always what leads people to pull a lever in the voting booth.
I would say that he's got difficulty on those three measures.
Now, what's his name just came in the room? What are you calling yourself today? Alistair Pepe came in the room. Do you guys want to be heard?
Yeah, I'd like to offer a prayer for America and for Donald Trump.
Okay, what's the prayer, God?
Almighty God, Master of the universe, Rabbono Shel Olam, please empower Donald Trump, give him more courage, more strength, and more joy to remove all the lawbreakers, all the illegal alien invaders that have invaded the United States of America, and give Donald Trump the power and the strength and the glory to conquer the IRGC terrorists and liberate Iran. And Almighty Father, Master of the Universe, give Scott, Kent, Jones, and El Normo, and even Adam more happiness and more joy today, this beautiful hump day. It's Camel Day, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, and I pray that all the people in the audience have more joy and more strength, and you have more fun on Clubhouse. And if you hate Donald Trump and you have Trump derangement syndrome, I hope you go to the gym today, read a good book, and realize you are a faggot retard.
I'm crying. Now, thank you so much for that submission. Happy hump day, everyone. Now, really quick, I just want to make a very quick submission. First to a comment earlier, and then to the title, the topic of the room. Whatever his name was, said that I was lying earlier when I made the statement that the South generally has a lower cost of living compared to other states, especially California. And then he chose to submit his response and say that I was lying because a city called Miami has a high cost of living. Now, mind you, I didn't say every city in the South has a lower cost of living compared to California. But what he chose to say is, well, since Miami has a higher cost of living, that no, what I was saying was wrong. And in fact, the South has a higher cost of living because Miami has a high cost of living. Now, mind you, he also made the comparison to California. Now, even the Miami, why would you compare a city to a full state is really asinine to me. I don't really understand how one would be able to do that and without understanding what they're really talking about, because everyone knows that the South, living in the South is generally more cheaper than the rest of the United States of America, than the other regions. So with that being said, that was my submission. Now, in regards to the title of the room, is Trumpism dying and why? I do believe that Trumpism is dying. I do believe that a lot of his fan base is definitely starting to do a side eye. A lot of things that he campaigned on necessarily aren't things that he is succeeding in right now. In regards to gas prices and war and no new wars and looking at certain people within the executive branch when they go to these Senate hearings and they're not able to necessarily answer questions or answer yes or no questions. We have had several people removed from his cabinet in every place. This is in my modern, at least in modern history, in the political scope, that's unprecedented. I've never seen people have to be replaced from an administration than this one. Also, in regards to the cost of living, groceries, right now he is saying that because of a war that I said that we weren't going to get to, these prices are needed sure that another state or another country doesn't get access to nuclear weapons. But mind you, we were already told that the nuclear weapons were eviscerated. Even after we blew them bitches the fuck up. That's what we were told. And in the Senate hearing that Pete Hegseth went to, he was even hammered on that by a Republican representative to sit there and say, well, look, you told us that you met every mission. You told us that you met every point, and now you're asking us for more money to take care of something that you already told us that you did? Like, what's going on here? And so with that being said, that's why I believe he is losing a lot of fan base, because also with the vanity projects, and I'm going to land here, with all of these renovations that he's doing, it is costing the American taxpayers billions of dollars of our money, which is things that he didn't necessarily campaign for, but he is doing. We're not worried about painting statues gold. We're not worried about renovating the White House. We're not worried about renovating the Kennedy Center or whatever have you. And with the woo, we're worried about the cost of living in our states. And I think that's why Trumpism is dying, because the cost of living is not necessarily being addressed. And I land there. Thank you.
That was pretty good.
I mean, from a Trump, I don't know how many Trump voters, I might be the only one on stage, but yeah, there's a portion of us that, of Republicans that did vote for Trump who do, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely no longer, I don't really have much of a positive view of Trump or his performance. I think that what he did with Iran was a total stab in the back to a good chunk of his base. He promised no new wars. It's been a fucking disaster. The economy hasn't really gotten any better. I mean, and I thought it was ironic. So like they're cutting like SNAP benefits and food stamps for like poor people. Most of these people are that get these benefits are working mothers. And of course Medicaid. And I think it was last week he said, well, we got to cut down the spending on those things, because we got a war to pay for. To me, it's just like. That is it's just so, I just remember him in his McDonald's uniform and him driving this fucking garbage truck, trying to look like he's like, a man of the people. And he just basically just shat on those people. He just took a big shit on you and on all of those people that voted for him. And I don't know, I don't see how I think he's a traitor.
Pepe, isn't the irony here that he's the first Republican that's won.
Hey, Pepe is in the building.
He's the first Republican that's won people under $50,000 in income in years. It's kind of screwed them.
Yeah, and that's why I feel really bad, for these people. Just, how's he America first? What did he do for the people who voted for him? Nothing. He's made himself a lot of fucking money. Made it, I'm sure all of his rich buddies are happy with this presidency, but and Jared Kushner in particular, his son-in-law. But I just think he's at this point he's just gotten obscene. It's just one fucking grift after another with him.
But Pepe, as a guy on the right, who do you look to for the future? I mean, who would you see? Who would fill the Trumpist void for you? Like because you need some sort of future movement for the party. Where does that come?
I really don't know. I mean, Marco Rubio to me it's a question how much he would mirror the neocons of the past, which I'm not really the biggest fan of. JD Vance, I don't even really know what he thinks, what his vision would be as a president. So I don't know who would be the next man, for the job. It's way too early for me to tell.
I mean, I think Rubio. I wonder. Okay, if Trump's approval ratings continue to drop as they are, will we have Trump fatigue? I mean, will anybody associated with the nomination, or associated with administration, will that just be cancerous? Will that be like something and I wonder if the future is you go just outside DC, you go outside MAGA. I mean, if I were a Republican right now, I'd be looking at someone like Spencer Cox, right? Here's a guy that's conservative but nice. He's not acerbic. He's not rancorous. He's somebody that's, he's going to be in my state in a couple weeks, sharing a stage with Josh Shapiro, talking about bipartisanship. Maybe you go that route.
I mean, it's also looks like the left is kind of leaning into populism now too, quite a bit. I mean, I would say a lot of these DSA people, when I hear them talk, I hear a lot of that. What I would consider populist as opposed to actual leftist rhetoric. I don't. I don't even know. I don't know that. Trump is just so unique, especially in comparison to other Republicans. It's just. I don't know where we go from here.
You go to the gym, you read a book. Besides, you're a 1990s self-professed Democrat.
I made the comment that if you were to look at Democrats in the 90s, a lot of them would be to the right of me in many areas. That's the truth.
How can you get more further right than a Nazi piece of shit?
I mean, I think Trump has done a really good job on the culture war. And I think the nation remains behind him on this, specifically on removing things like DEI, anti-Semitism, bias from the media, critical race theory being removed from the military. These are all things on which I think America supported him. I'm giving the other point too, as well as immigration. We wanted to get illegal immigrants out of the country, and he's doing a good job at that. Although he's a little heavy-handed, I won't deny it. It's not the most compatible.
Well, is it easy to do law enforcement? It's not. It's not an easy job. And all the people, you've seen the rhetoric actually, in my opinion, go down against ICE. It was really over that young woman in the minivan and that other guy who had his pistol. That was the flare-up. And there will be more flare-ups. It is a dangerous job removing illegal aliens, especially the dangerous ones. And they should be saluted. They shouldn't be doxxed. They shouldn't be attacked. And in my opinion, all these people filming them and trying to dox them and cause them harm, if you do that, you should be arrested. Those law enforcement agents should arrest you on the fucking spot, and you should be charged. Hello?
Right?
No.
You can't impede an officer conducting his or her duty. That's true.
Well, look at that guy Jake Long, who goes to these Muslim events and protests, and he gets physically attacked and beaten. The police don't arrest the people assaulting him, which they should be. So we have a major problem where we have this double standard where you can't go and complain and protest if you're considered Islamophobic. It's all a giant fraud, and we need police to arrest people that attack people. Stop letting these Muslim anti-protesters who are violent people get away with physical assault. Arrest them. Attack them.
Well, I can't tell what portion of what you're saying is trolling. But again, I'll repeat that I think Trump is actually doing a really good job on the culture wars when it comes to, and I think more needs to be done. Like, you shouldn't have to sign a loyalty oath when you apply to college, which is what a DEI oath is. Also, I mean, DEI is one of those odd things like transgenderism. You notice, by the way, that he's done a good job, speaking of which, you notice he's done a good job on transgenderism. That people aren't even talking about it anymore. He's did a good job in expanding drilling and the fuels, which is good for the economy. So, I mean, we should talk about the good and the bad that Trump is doing, I think. Of course, most people get freaked out by a war, and those who oppose Trump are dining out and making the most of this war, because it's easy to be against war. Everybody is against war. So if it comes to war and the old standby, it's the economy stupid, meaning people just have a feeling that they can't afford their lives or that prices are going up. I think much of this comes from the fallout from the pandemic and from pumping tons of money into the economy during the pandemic so that people could get by, but we did it a little too much. So we had more money chasing fewer products because production was down, and that's the definition of inflation. So he really needs to figure out a way to deal with it. I see that housing costs have been going down. I checked a few major cities, and I followed NPR and National Public Radio on this. Obviously, they are anti-Trump. So the next thing that has to happen, and he's been fighting for this, and the Fed's been resistant. The next thing that has to happen is interest rates have to go down. That's something that he's always wanted. If interest rates go down and things become more affordable, then I think Trumpism will still be alive. Whatever Trumpism is. I think Trumpism is whatever he's thinking at the moment. Let's see, who did we not hear from? Michaela. I always enjoy hearing from you, and often you're quiet. No criticism intended. What's going on?
I think mainly the people who are complaining about the economy, it's because they don't support the war. They don't support getting rid of nukes in Iran. And that's why a lot of the reason prices have gone up is because of gas going up. So
Because what going up?
Gas.
Oh yeah.
Price of gas.
Yeah.
So transportation of everything. So I still support Trump. I mean, he came into office. It was mainly on the promise of the illegal alien stuff. The first term it was anti-abortion for me. So I support what he did, and I know a lot of Minnesota people, and they're very naive liberals, and I can see them getting out there and getting in the way of police and thinking they're all virtuous. It's a naive, silly group of people. Anyway, and they were targeting, criminals. When they were going into those neighborhoods, they were targeting criminals in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. And those people blowing their whistles and alerting neighbors, to the fact that ICE was coming, that was really, really bad. That was illegal, I would think. So, anyway.
Well, since you're a satisfied customer, if I may characterize you in that way.
Yeah.
So, why don't we talk about what you agree that Trump has delivered? Because you mentioned abortion. Now, if you talk about two thorny problems that have bedeviled America for decades, abortion is one of the top issues. And Trump did something that no other president seemed to be able to do, going all the way back to 1973, which I remember vividly, Michaela. You're not old enough to know this, but I am.
Oh, yes, I am.
I know, I'm teasing you. I remember so vividly, 1973, I was at Brandeis University, and I was very young. I was a little bit of a prodigy, so I went there at the age of 16. And a girl from my dormitory had to take a plane flight to New York to get an abortion because abortion was illegal in Massachusetts. Now, she wasn't my girlfriend or anything like that. I had no role in that. But nevertheless, that's how recent, it's only, half a century or so, it's actually more than that, about half a century, that women in Massachusetts couldn't get an abortion, basically. Now, against all odds, Trump, and there was some luck involved in this, right? Trump was able to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices. Not many presidents have had that opportunity. And those 3 justices tipped the balance, as I think many people knew they would, and they voted to repeal Roe v. Wade. Trump appointed for the room, if you don't recall, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Bryant, ACB. So,
Norma,
that resolved was what?
do you think 3,000 abortions a day is too much at the price of 100,000 abortion or $1 billion plus a month? Do you think it's too much?
In the country?
Yeah, as an industry, you know, it's considered an industry at 90,000 babies a month and at 12 billion a year. That's an industry of death.
Well, I've never considered your question. But I am not a Catholic person, and I'm not a big anti-abortion person, but many people are. And I respect them as they respect me. I'm more of an agnostic on this. I do believe in a woman's right to choose. But I also think that the Trumpian solution or the SCOTUS solution, SCOTUS being the Supreme Court of the United States, of heading, since it's not really spelled out in the Constitution, I believe that this solution is okay to allow the states to make their decision, and most states have voted to allow women to choose abortion. So really, it's resolved. I think to everybody's satisfaction. Michaela, would you say it's off to your satisfaction as a person who opposes abortion?
Yeah, so far, I'm not satisfied that my state then put it in their constitution up to birth, you know, with no reason needed for any reason. For anyone in any age up to birth. Well, you know, but I guess we never expected it to really happen for Roe to be overturned, so the pro-life movement wasn't prepared enough, but also they couldn't be prepared in blue states because there's no chance that they would have won any elections there. You know. But yes, I am satisfied. It was pretty bad to have that in the U.S. Constitution. That was pretty bad. But it is 1 million abortions a year still. It's not. He mentioned 12 million or something. It's about 1 million. I don't think the numbers decreased much because it's gone to the pill now. It's become even more. Normalized. Oh, just go take the birth control, you know, take the abortion pill. Yeah. So people aren't focusing so much on the gruesome details of pulling the babies apart, all that stuff. The women just go home and have miscarriages in their toilet. So. Yeah, I hate to see the you know, I support Trump not for, well, I think his personality had a lot to do with how he could just tackle things. I don't think other Republicans would have dared to tackle things the way he did, or the way he does. And I think we needed that. And I think guys like Marco Rubio, the Republicans have a wide bench or a long bench. I think Marco Rubio will be great to carry on his the things that Trump is for. What do others think? Is Marco Rubio out of the picture for some reason? Hello?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, there's nothing bad about the guy whatsoever. He is especially when it comes to foreign policy, he's a very knowledgeable person.
But don't you think, Pepe, he gets tagged with this war? I mean, he's sort of the face of the security establishment. If this war continues to be unpopular, I just wonder if the branding is just bad for him.
The brand, yeah, perhaps.
Thomas Sowell's, big thing is limited resources. And that's what the DSAs are, why they are so low IQ and why they're incompetent and incapable of actually running or managing our country. And that's why Pete Hegseth is going to step up and probably run for POTUS, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. We have patriots in the waiting that will continue Trumpism. Trumpism will never die because Trumpism is America first. These socialist, communist, fascists, and they are fascists. They're not just socialist communists. They are fascists. They will never, ever get the reins of government or ever be in control of anything significant because we have a Praetorian Guard in this country known as the CIA. There are lots of patriots from West Point and other military academies that will, in my opinion, take care of the problems. Hello?
If Hank said runs for president, as a Democrat, I will campaign for him. I will give money to his campaign. I will actively work to promote that candidacy. Because I think we would win about 6,000 states. We would win. I think that would be, I think we would, I could not imagine a bigger dream candidate for the Democrats than Pete Hegseth. I think we would, it would be the biggest Democrat electoral college win that we would see in a long time.
J-Lo, have you weighed in yet, or merely Jay? J-Lo?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, can I ask a new question?
Is it related to the topic?
Yes, directly related. The national interest expense is now over $100 billion a month. It's 1.4 trillion plus a year, which is more than supposedly our military industrial spending and our Social Security Administration spending. So my question is, if you believe in Trumpism or America First, you're not necessarily for international, the banking industrial complex, which is where most of this money is going. So if you believe in America, isn't bankruptcy the inevitable future, and then we restart? Hello?
I do like this hello you're giving. I like the hello at the end of the sentence.
When you say hello to somebody, do you say hello and then hello?
Hello? The numbers are out there at usdebtclock.org. You can see that every taxpayer, and there's only 120 million taxpayers out of our 340 million people, supposedly, these people cannot meet the burden of the bill. It's almost 600,000 per taxpayer in debt, and that's just the federal, not all the states. If you accumulate all the state debt, it goes to over $1 million per person. How do you expect a 20-year-old college graduate to foot that bill? We have fucked the generations that are coming out of college now since the year 2000 because of our runaway rampant spending on international regime change, and then we topped it off with a cherry and a creamsicle known as the COVID-19 vaccine experiment, which cost many, many trillions. So the point is, incompetence only comes from one side, and that's the Democrat side, because they are the incompetent party of America. They prove it over and over again. In Chicago, our property taxes are up 600%. And guess what the Democrats do? They sell your house if you can't meet your tax burden, and then you're homeless. And they've done it to thousands of people, and those people voted for them. So we live in the sadomasochistic recycle world of retardation and low IQ administration. Hello?
I can prove both parties are indefinite real quick. Norm, if you just allow me a second. So let's look at just the Social Security age thing, right? So you make Social Security age 62, and the life population at the time is about 62, right? So the idea is that, like, people who are living longer than they should, let's make sure they are taken care of, or we help them. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. Well, it's been, what, 90 years since then? Life expectancy is, what, 78 now? And we barely increased the age? That is a unique incompetence on both parties. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's one of the biggest challenges we face, and the reason why in 2033, Social Security benefits, if we're fortunate, will be paid out at 82%. That's just one example. The overall debt you're talking about is a bipartisan thing. It's good up to social program had it up to higher taxes for corporations and individuals, and it's going to lead to hard choices in the future. that, and I'd like to hear more. So I keep, even if it involves repetition, so if you're willing. So you're saying that we won't be able to fund Social Security, so we'll have to pay only 82% of what the promise is by a certain year. Is that accurate?
Yes, 2033, we dropped to 82%, correct.
2033. Now, I wonder if people, tell me what you think of this idea. People who don't need Social Security can forego it. Doesn't that seem both workable and fair?
How? No, they pay into it. So you can't tell them when you put into something for 43 years and then say, you don't really need it, so we're not going to give it to you. That would lead to all sorts of lawsuits.
Well, it might lead to lawsuits, many things too, but it's no less rational than paying people less than what they were promised. It's a little bit of that, what those who need get, and those who don't need to get.
Well, it's going to ironically lead to the sort of thing that people hate, which is like, what's the government going to do? We're going to let in more immigrants eventually, right? Because you're going to need more people who are feeding into the system so you can pay the benefits. So there's an irony in all of this, right? We're just basically...
Wait, we're off topic here. We're off topic.
No, it's tied to Social Security. It's tied to Social Security.
But it's not tied to the idea that people who don't need it can forego it in order to save it for those who do need it.
Yeah, but who's going to volunteer for that?
That's altruism 101. That's not an insurance policy, El Normo. That's altruism, not an insurance policy.
Okay. You can call it whatever you want, but it might solve the problem.
And then what do you do, Norm? You say anyone who is over $1 million in net worth doesn't get it, or like just give me an example of your standard. What standard we use? Just make up one for sake of the conversation.
Okay. Let's say we prioritize people who are below the poverty line. That's a criteria we use for other metrics. Okay. So first, the money goes to those who are below the poverty line. Okay. Okay with that so far for you?
How far below the poverty line?
Then we go up. What's that?
I'm just saying it's an arbitrary position.
We'll go piece by piece. This is okay. Let them go piece by piece. This is fine. Yeah, piece by piece.
Yeah. So we go to those below the poverty line. Obviously, they need it. Then we go to, then we break it up into increments. Next stop, people who are, say, 20% above the poverty line. And we figure out, this might be what they end up doing. And we just figure out, at one point, people can live without Social Security. Seems like a good solution.
Well, they just removed. They literally just cut $25 billion a month in monthly spending from the SSA and removed 12 million illegal recipients of SSA funds. That would be one step. Social Security Administration. They just removed 12 million people from the payment rolls, and it was over 25 billion a month. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Please hold.
Okay, so you're saying what's
$25 billion a month. That's a whopper.
It's a huge number.
So you're suggesting eliminates fraud, though. That's your bigger point, right?
Well, the people that were receiving it were over 110 years old. It was in the millions. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Please hold.
You're saying cutting fraud will get us part of the way there to solving the Social Security.
Of course. Absolutely.
It won't. Here's the data. Social Security is 99.6% efficient. The fraud rate is 0.4%. Norm, how many human systems do you know that only have a 0.4% failure rate?
Where are you getting that statistic from?
Multiple websites.
Well, give us
Security Administration, GSA.
Okay.
Multiple
So according to
here's the law.
Hang on, wait. I want to stay with one thought at a time if we can. So according to the Social Security Administration, right, the fraud level is low. So what is it, 0.4? 0.4, yes. Okay, so what is the whole budget of Social Security? So you're right. That's a good question to ask. So it's about 1.5 trillion, right? So So what? Yes, 0.4% of 1.5 trillion. Yes. Is what? So it's around like 8 billion. No, about 6 billion. It's 6 billion. 0.4 times 1.5 is obviously 6. I'm sorry, 60 billion, my bad. 60 billion, my bad. Well, that sounds like a nice number to save. Yeah. So people can live on that money. Okay. So you're saving 60 billion out of it. Okay, right? So when people say the amount of fraud or whatever, right? They're basically taking that 60 billion number and then multiplying it by multiple years. So that's what. So that's where they come up with hundreds of billions of dollars. You following me? Of course, it's easy. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. 60 million a year is a bit of a solution, right? Okay. So, yeah, it's 0.4% of a solution. Well, no, you're not 0.4% of the solution. I'm kidding. Okay, it's 60 million a year. I was kidding. Okay. So, okay. All right. So, I'm sorry. If the idea is that you're going to be paying 82% in 2033, right? Let's just be conservative and say at that point it's $2 trillion you're paying out. Well, I'm not accepting the number of 82% in 2033. Well, that's what the current projections are according to the CBO and other sources. I understand that, but I understand you're saying that, but I'm not accepting that automatically. Okay, that's fine. So let's just take it. Let's just take it as a hypothetical. If you want to use a different percentage, we can. Okay. Let's say that we're concerned that we're running out of money to fund it. That I'll accept. Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's fine. All right. So if that number is 1.5 trillion now annually, let's say it's roughly 2 trillion by 2033. Okay. 18% of that number is about $360 billion. So we have figured out a solution that 0.4%. So that gives you 60 billion of it. That's the idea, right?
Hello?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, CEO, we're not human calculators for you to run numbers through. Did you have a point?
My point is, you can fix the fraud to the degree possible. You're never going to get to 100% because 0.4 is already a low number. So fixing the fraud the best human beings are capable of will not come remotely close to solving the issue.
Where the hell do you get? Go ahead.
Fixing the fraud is not the entire solution. It's part of the solution. So, for example, fix the fraud, which seems to be a big problem, and prioritize people who need the money. Those are. Now we're really on our way to a solution.
I would say that we're not going to remove people from Social Security simply because they're high income. We
said we're going to prioritize the people that need it.
I know I'm saying that won't happen either.
Well, you're saying that won't happen. You're one guy. So if you say it won't happen, and I say it will happen, they're both about equal weight.
What will end up happening likely is we will increase the FICA cap. We'll remove the FICA cap, right? If you make over $185,000 a year, you need to not pay a Social Security tax on any dollar you make over that. We'll remove that. That covers 60% of the budgetary gap. We'll increase legal immigration as well because you want to improve the ratio of workers to non-workers. Those will happen.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Those will happen before we talk about cutting Social Security. That's an easy one because Social Security is so popular. There's like no constituency for cutting benefits, no real one in terms of the voters.
So you think that these things are decided by popularity, which is silly, I would say. They are decided by financial necessities. We give money out where it's needed. So if somebody has, if there are those for whom Social Security is just pocket change that falls between the sofa cushions, then it seems to me that there's good justification for limiting their Social Security.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he's saying is right. Yeah, it's unpopular, right? Old people vote, and I've heard people that don't even need Social Security say, "I paid into it." Right? It's not viewed as an entitlement, which in some ways it's not, right? So there's this sense in which I paid into it, I want it, it's not fair to cut. I think it's politically unpopular. I think it's not something nobody wants to run on cutting Social Security because the seniors you can run.
We're not talking about running on it. We're talking about solving the problem.
Yeah, I'm just saying it gets hard to solve though because to solve it, you need to legislate, right? And to legislate, something has to be politically viable. And I just think you can screw young people with debt. I'm not saying it's right, but you can screw young people with debt and deficits because young people don't vote, right? But the AARP, they get their people out. That's why Social Security is very tough to reform.
And wealthy people vote at higher rates than even regular old people. So yeah, they're not voting to cut Social Security, no chance. Like if you were high,
rich people have no constituency, but rich people also have a determinative constituency. You're literally arguing against yourself.
There isn't a population looking to cut Social Security number, right? Because a top earning family, 2-income households this year can get $100K from Social Security, right? They're not. There's very few people who are turning their nose up at $100K. It's not.
This is not cutting Social Security. This is saving Social Security.
No, the closest you're gonna get is increasing the age, right? So that's the closest you're gonna get.
I don't even think you can do that because most people can't.
Well, you guys are just making stuff up, right?
No, we're talking about political will, right? And so the issue is that if you're a member of Congress and you vote for limiting Social Security for people who make X amount, you are voting to limit your campaign donations and your ability to win your next election.
So I phrased it a different way. I say you prioritize people who are below the poverty line.
Which means you have to deprioritize someone. So I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. What you're saying, what you're saying is, listen, let's break down what you're saying.
How about welfare benefits, CEO? Are we deprioritizing rich people from welfare benefits?
That's right, Medicare too, Medicare.
Wait, hang on a second, CEO.
Let's not change the argument.
Hang on, we're not. Hang on a second, CEO. What were you saying about Medicare, Michaela?
Yeah, I mean, we're all paying for Medicare, but it's the poorer retirees that can get it, right?
Tell us more about what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, Medicare is for poor people. We're all paying for it.
We know that in advance. But we know that in advance.
Medicaid. I'm sorry, Medicaid. I'm sorry.
All right, so let's think about that.
Yeah.
So we have a safety net for people for medical care, and that's called Medicaid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all pay into it.
Even retired people on Medicare can also get Medicaid if their income
below the poverty line.
Yeah.
But that's all part of a social contract, and we know that going into it. So there's a difference. It's very different than changing Social Security when someone's about to get it. That's a very different proposition. And then, if you're
Obamacare. Well, wait. Let me get your first point. Obamacare changed the system. We seem to go along with it, right? That's relatively recent in our lifetime. I mean, it sounds to me like we have a model and a solution. So what happens if we prioritize people in the order of need?
Okay, that's what I was going to get to.
All right.
To prioritize people who are below the poverty line, what you're saying is you have to pay them 100%, right? So you're paying them 100% for benefits.
Exactly.
That means you no longer have that. That means that you're going to give less to the people who are the least, who require it the least. You're automatically pulling back from somewhere else. You're not creating new money. You're taking it from someone else.
That's sort of obvious, isn't it? That's the whole point of what we're saying.
Yeah, I know, but you were acting like that wasn't the case. You're deprioritizing.
No, I'm not acting like it. No, I'm not acting like it's not the case at all.
I said you have to deprioritize someone else. You said no, we're just prioritizing.
That's correct. The second thing you said is correct. It is not deprioritizing at all. We're giving the money, as with Medicaid and welfare, to the people who need it. Everybody pays in order to support those in need.
Norm,
I think we have a belief.
if you have Adam and Michaela, and the total of what they get is 100%, and then you say, we're getting 50-50, and you say, Adam, we're going to prioritize Adam, and you move them up to 65%, then you're deprioritizing Michaela to 35%.
It had nothing to do with this conversation. When you just the hypothetical you gave is in no way related to this conversation. You have not made your point. You're trying to make a semantic point, and forgive me, but I reject your semantic point.
Fantastic point, CEO. I loved it.
It comes exactly nowhere.
Prioritizing one thing means deprioritizing something else. If you're not I don't agree. Saving resources.
Social Security is not a safety net program.
Well, apparently it is. Apparently it is.
It's not.
So, apparently it is. So if you say that, for example, we're only going to give free health care to those who need it, are we deprioritizing people who don't need it?
That's a different pie. You're using a different pie to get that done.
Yeah, they're using a different pie. So are we
reading a different paradigm?
What did that mean?
I said, okay, let me.
I'm comparing it to another government program.
I'm going to simplify. I'm just going to
don't have worse health care than people who on it. They don't get worse health care. They actually have better health care.
Who said that they do? That was a non-starter.
You used Obamacare as an example.
No, I said Obamacare changed the system. The question was we're changing the system.
Obamacare didn't change the system for the vast majority of people who have employer-based health care.
Obamacare was a dramatic change in our healthcare system.
Not for people with employer-based health care, was it?
It was a massive societal change.
Employer-based health care, they didn't.
Well, I get your. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. It's irrelevant.
I guess 38 million people got covered, right? Was it 38 million?
Correct. Most people saw no change.
So that's like about just over 10%.
10% of the population. Yeah, which is enormous. So, all right, David, did you want to weigh in? Yeah.
It just gave people who didn't have insurance to make it more affordable. I mean, it wasn't a sea change. I think it was a backstop. It was a way to answer a big need in society. Is how do we insure those that aren't insured?
And it costs more to do that, right, David?
Your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Remember you said that?
Yeah, that one was a broken promise. So what? Why are you laughing?
You can take my Social Security from my cold dead hands.
At the end of the day, the United States just has to prioritize the systems that they've already been legislated, and make sure those are funded. And if they have to increase them. But, the fact of the matter is, as the United States becomes more in debt, there's going to have to be some there's going to be some clawback of these benefits, unfortunately. And you're already seeing it with, these flock cameras. Take these flock cameras, for example. This is just nothing more than a money grab by cities to write tickets without police officers involved, right? These cities are broke. My parking in Santa Monica jumped from $3 to $10 overnight, and these businesses don't have any tax revenues to pay them anymore. So at the end of the day, Norm and others in the room, is that the United States has to find a way to stay richer, to prioritize spending that needs to go in the right places. The military, you got Hegseth asking for $1.5 trillion, And what are we getting for that other than a bloated bureaucracy and folks that don't have food and servicemen and women that are suffering, you know, in the high seas? I mean, we're not seeing.
Well, what we're getting is the greatest. Let me answer that question. What we're getting is the greatest military in military history. The biggest, and by a factor of 100, the most impressive and powerful military, best funded military in the history of the military.
Did we have that 2 years ago?
I would say, what's that? I don't know. That's what we're getting, and that's what we're spending to get it.
But El Normo, biggest isn't always better. It's the motion in the ocean that counts.
Don't be a troll. So David, we're talking about
It's the motion in the ocean that counts.
we're going to run out of money. I think we estimated about 2035. And
Run out of money, lower pay benefits.
well, we will no longer be able to fund it by 2035 fully. So I said, well, why not prioritize the people who need it most? In other words, those people who are below the poverty line. That seems to be a workable solution. What do you think, Jim?
Well, you've got here's the problem. You've got so your demographic norm is only all the wealth right now.
Thank you.
The baby boomers at the top.
I'm not a boomer. I'm not a baby boomer, but if you say I don't own the wealth, I say thank you.
Okay, well,
Share, Norm, share.
Exactly.
stop hoarding. Stop hoarding. Now,
I know.
The point is, you got all these baby boomers are sitting on a wealth. You know, a lot of them, not all of them wealthy, of course. I don't want to generalize. But you got baby boomers that are living off pensions and they're getting Social Security on top of pensions, and they don't even need this Social Security really. They got big bloated 401ks and a lot of equity in their properties.
Most of them don't have very much in their 401k, to be honest.
Well, okay, well, who's that? Who's that, your buddy?
That's Vishal. Don't credit me with this false.
No, but listen, so I get that we have to have this military, right? I get that the Pentagon is a big bureaucracy, the aerospace, all these big companies that provide these so-called real wage jobs, and you know the threats are the threats, right? This is the talking point. But at some point, you know, with what we've already spent on this Iran debacle, we could have backstopped, paid for insurances, refunded Social Security with a lot of that money. So, and all the trillions we spent on Iraq and in Afghanistan, we would be made whole for years off of these expenditures. Paid for education for every child in America.
Well, that's a hypothetical and a counterfactual.
Hypothetical.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. You say if. When you say if, that means automatically it's a hypothetical. So, and it's a counterfactual.
I'm saying.
So I think.
Yeah, David, you're like a guy that made a bad investment and now you're crying and playing and saying, I want my money back. It's already been spent.
Make it a personal attack, though.
It's informative. It's based upon history. History repeats itself. It's because we repeat the
You're like a
same
guy crying
mistakes
about an investment
that we made previous, right? So the idea is not repeat history so we don't repeat it, right? I think that's.
But you can't repeat history. Every situation is different. There's no repeating of history.
But there's actions and policies that are put in place based upon one's history. I mean, Norm, let's take Israel for example, right? United States Cold War, fighting Israel, fighting its enemies, right?
Okay.
It never wants to go back to a state where you're subjugated by another country overseeing your religion, right?
So no, that's not accurate.
Well, let's
that's not accurate.
David, may I simplify your point for a moment? Do you mind?
Yeah, simplify it, please.
Okay. So history.
No apology call necessary. Thank you, Dave.
So history may not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Anyone who studied, for instance,
this is a cliche, though.
and I'm going to prove it. Okay.
You can't prove a cliche.
Okay. I'm going to demonstrate it. All right.
You can't do that either. Why don't you just make a point?
You can say it's a faulty demonstration, but I can demonstrate.
Just make a point without the rhyming slang.
Anyone who studied the 1920 flu pandemic would learn and could have predicted that there would have been lockdowns for COVID. There would be people who are very upset about it. There would be a lot of misinformation out. So there was nothing new that occurred under COVID versus the flu pandemic, with the exception of there's larger media and larger social media. And so
I'm sure we can find parallels and differences. I don't know.
There's a lot of core parallels. So the parallels are very important. And I just named them. Misinformation, lockdowns, people whining about it and not obeying. Those are three big parallels.
They're sort of unrelated, and I don't think we learned anything from
I'm saying
that.
you could have predicted all of them.
Hello, moderators. Moderators, I would like to. Moderators, I would like to add that Brad, if he's still, or Viking in the chat, put a link to what the Social Security Administration has done, which has saved hundreds of millions of dollars over the next coming years, because they actually use the master death file that they keep. And so they cross-reference, and what I found interesting is this master death file has the statistical significance of 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, while the country was mass administering the COVID-19 vaccine, and you can see the statistical increase in morbidity during these years. The question becomes, is it the vaccine, or was it the COVID-19 vaccine they cooked up in Wuhan that created the increased statistical significance in morbidity? Hello? And we're talking 20% increases in death rates, or even more, up to 120%. And then there's a global master death file even. But anyways, the point is, I'm not a great statistician. I can barely multiply and divide. I did stats in college, but the statistics don't lie. Faggot retards do though. Hello?
And I don't even want to hear the R word, and I don't want you to accuse people on stage or attack them personally. I put that link at the top of the room, and what we're finding is that there was some Social Security fraud. One figure we had was, I believe it was 60 billion. That was from CEO.
I'm sorry, it's actually 6 billion. I calculated it wrong. My bad. 0.4% is 6 billion.
Well, now you've got to check your math because we've gotten two numbers.
Well, so let's do this. 1%
So we need
of 1% of 1.5 trillion is 15 billion. Do you agree? So let's make it easier. 10% of 1.5 trillion is 150 billion. 1% is 15 billion.
Okay.
So 0.4% would be 6 billion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just say cutting Social Security is to have this fight is like manna from heaven for Democrats. There will be nothing that they relish.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
Republicans are looking to push your grandma off a cliff.
it's just.
Do you remember the Paul Ryan at the time? Yeah. Remember when that Paul Ryan?
But see, this is the difference between words and reality. Gentlemen, that's why I say the F word, R word, to prove that words and reality are different things. And when you say Democrats, this is a gift from heaven. When we say we have to have austerity, again, there are limited resources. And Democrat socialists, they are just propagandists espousing lies and misinformation through complicated words or through basically what I would call communication hypnosis. It's not the reality. There are limited resources, and you can't just inflate your way out of it. Look, we're bailing out Japan. We can't. The country is already completely broke 100 times over. Hello?
I'm trying to get into your words I can. Can I say something?
Mister. One at a time. This is why Democrats will love this, because Republicans have passed 3 tax cuts already. and they've done nothing else but pass a tax cut. And now they're going to turn around and say that we need to cut Social Security. No one's signing on for that shit.
Let me say this. I agree with what you said, bro. I think at the end of the day, Social Security, which we've all paid into, table of cuts. And the fact that that's even being entertained when we're building a ballroom, I don't care where they say he's getting his money at. It's coming from us for that ballroom in the White House. So when it comes to all the frivolous spending that they're doing, and they cry wolf and say, we're trying to cut spending and be more frugal and be more fiscally responsible, but then you see the dimwit do shit like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to be quiet after that. At the end of the day, what you guys are talking about with Social Security, this war that's going on, that's costing us endless money, that most Americans, if not damn near all, won't. I mean, even the Congress didn't even come to a full understanding of the war until he just waged it without even any input in this shit. There is nothing fiscal about it. It's a liquidation of America going on right now. This man is just going crazy. The tariff money that they're now saying how we're gonna pay all this tariff money back now that it's been ruled that you can't do it. He's like it's gonna destroy the country. No one wanted that idea anyway. The tariffs was your idea. It was a bad idea. You did it to our allies like Canada. It's foolish. You know what I mean? But to make a long story short, that's what we're dealing with right now. When we say the Democrats are salivating at the thought of him fucking it up, it's a sad day that we even got to get there. It's a sad day when we can't even have partisanship for what's right for the country. It's like you pick a side, and we're at war over it. There's nothing United States about that. There's nothing united at all. It's basically saying you fundamentally believe this bullshit. Now, it's detrimentally affecting us all. It's cutting education. You know, it basically cut the Department of Education damn near out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Good riddance. Goodbye. We don't need it. We never needed it. The problem is do you believe in separation of church and state, mister? So you would probably also believe in the separation of economy and state, because our state creates the economy.
What I'm saying to you is this. At the end of the day, our kids' education is vital. And the problem that I'm seeing in this midst, our health is vital. You now have it to where you basically removed us from the WHO, the World Health Organization. We're not even really involved in that anymore. We can't keep track of what's going on, whether it be COVID, measles, or that whatever that disease is that's causing people to have uncontrollable bowel movements or whatever that shit's called. I can't pronounce it. Nonetheless, we don't inspect our food. We blame it on the lettuce. We done cut the health inspectors out. Air traffic controllers are lower than ever. It's a shit show. They're liquidating the government just so they can keep the money at the top. They're playing games. The whole dog thing that they claimed, it was a fraud. You basically claiming you're cutting out this wasteful spending, but then you're doing wasteful spending. So the cuts that you say you're doing is just rolling over to them. Then you're stock market manipulating with the war, whereas on one day we got peace treaties, now we decided we're going to go to war again. No, today we got a peace treaty, now we're going to war again today. Do you think the markets don't reflect that bullshit rhetoric? Do you think that's not market manipulation? Come on, man. We dealing with a con man in office, with a con man administration, and it's nothing more that you can say about it. I'm not saying the Democrats are perfect. They fucked up too. Biden didn't do the best of jobs. But what we got going on right now is
mister, some people will push back if you call Donald Trump a con man. Sometimes people on this app say things that are just not true. And a lot of it is ad hominem projection. Are you a con man, mister? Are you a motherfucking con man? When was the last time you scammed somebody, mister? Hello? You don't know me. You angry. I can't argue with you. You angry. Leave me alone. You angry. Leave me alone. I can't argue with you. Hello? 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 Well, I will say that the big beautiful bill is not beautiful, but it is big. Hello? 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 You angry. I can't argue with you. Leave Leave me alone. Hello? Listen, the big beautiful bill is not beautiful. That puts future tax liabilities on the individual income tax filer. That's not right. We need to repeal the big beautiful bill. Hello? Hello? I can't argue with you. You angry. Leave me alone. Hello? I can't argue with you. You angry. Leave me alone. Hello? The big beautiful bill is a future tax liability deferral program. It's for individual tax filers to put their hard work, their best effort into paying back the national debt. Mister, I can't argue with you. I'm going on mute. You got this. Hello?
Dealing with is people who like entertainment and to act like goofballs instead of acknowledging that the policies that they're passing don't even benefit most of the people in this room. The people talking, I can almost guarantee most of you don't have $1 million. I don't. So how is an oligarchy's policies benefiting you when it's benefiting the 1%? It's benefiting Elon. It's benefiting Jeff Bezos. It's benefiting Warren Buffett. Any billionaire is benefiting. You're not. You're just cheerleading and pom-pomming for a pedophile. This shit makes sense. I don't know. Y'all got it. Yeah, y'all can keep on rooting for your section.
I can't argue with you. You angry. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Some people will say it's all relative. And in a way, it's true because we do live in a global community. Moscow is burning to the ground. The Ukrainians have figured out a form of war which is so obnoxiously destructive. They can, through drone technology, which is real-time, instantaneous, blitzkrieg, lightning warfare to a very high and dangerous degree. We here in America are not enduring a blitzkrieg, a drone warfare. But what we are experiencing is domestic terrorists. And if you go to any sanctuary city in America, you will meet stupid pieces of shit who are the exact same thing as dangerous drones. They might kill you on a train. They might kill you in the park. They might kill you while you're out for a jog in the morning. I can't argue with you. You angry. Hello? Hello? You're just angry that I'm a fucking big-time movie star and a television star and I'm on TV and you're not, you big stupid dummy. I'm a superstar, I'm a supermodel, and you're just an ugly guy on Clown House. You're so stupid, you big stupid dummy. Hey, Kevin. Kevin kisses boys at parties and says, I'm not gay, but if you want to kiss me, you can kiss me if you want. My name is Point, a.k.a. Cappuccino. Some of you know me. I have many names, many profiles, like Mr. here. This is actually John Kitover's actually Mr. and Alistair's actually Point. We're going 3 levels of deception, everybody. You'll never stop the CIA. The CIA will get $60 billion a year for the rest of your lives. Well, you can barely pay your taxes, and your property taxes keep going up, and Democrat socialists like Mamdani and AOC keep lying to you. I mean, how many times are you going to watch AOC create an egg freezing video? I can't argue with you. You angry. Can't argue with you. You angry. Leave me alone. You got this. The point is, AOC is on day 12 of freezing her eggs while Moscow burns, and everybody here's complaining. America's $140 trillion in debt, and your property taxes are through the roof. Your car insurance keeps going up. Your homeowner's insurance keeps going up, but your income doesn't go up. But AOC's egg freezing experiment continues on. And everybody can get the mRNA vaccine and flu shot this winter, and you can all have a horrific carcinogenic event again.
because Robert F. Kennedy can't stop Moderna or Pfizer or J&J from selling mRNA vaccine shots and calling it the flu shot. So we're living in a big deception, and faggot retards like Point or Cappuccino or Mr. Here, you can't argue with them because they're angry and they won't leave you alone. But it's your choice whether or not you want to communicate with them, because you do have freedom of choice in this country, and you have free will to exercise that free choice. So health, wealth, love, peace of mind, happiness, and strength, everybody. I hope you find more peace, more joy, more strength, more justice, more truth in your own personal lives, and you stop listening to all the loser propagandists on this app wasting all your time. Thank you. I am complete. This is Point, a.k.a. Cappuccino.
Reporters are idiots like him.
I haven't heard from you personally, G. You have a contribution to make? No contribution? Pepe, you always have some thoughts. What do you? When you talk, you often seem like you're really trying to figure things out. So what are you trying to figure out, Pepe?
At the moment, I was listening in the background. Nothing really.
Do you work while you do this?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. God, have we exhausted this? Or are we is it gonna get a new life? I don't think Trumpism is dying, but I believe that as is true with the Democratic Party, I think there are fractures, I should say. We're seeing some fracture lines. I wonder what will be next.
It's always redundant, Norm. The status quo is 99.999% guaranteed in the future. Just look at, it's called the Groundhog Day reality. Look at your own personal life, and you tell me, when you wake up with no pain, you feel great, things are good, you don't have stress, you don't have anxiety. It's a little bit like being in Groundhog Day, and then you realize, oh my God, it's a me problem. I'm the one who gets angry. I'm the one who's engaging in frivolous, useless discourse. I'd like to read a poem to the room, but unfortunately, because, in my opinion, we're living in a situation with a bunch of incompetent citizens who are literally just repeating the propaganda pushed down to them. So my comedy shtick, trying to be Point or Cappuccino and saying, you angry. I can't argue with you. I'm trying, and using even the F word, R word. I don't like to use the word F word, R word, but I'm trying to point out that we are living in a situation where the COW doesn't give you milk. The MANURE doesn't actually smell like manure. So we're living in this attention economy of communication, control, and hypnosis, aka propaganda. What do you think propaganda is? It's not just the messaging, it's the distribution, it's the delivery. That is what propaganda is. It's a multifaceted experience.
Let's go back to the topic.
Well, Trumpism is not dying. It's only growing. Trump is the birth of liberty again in the womb of time. America has woken up. Trump
is the birth of liberty.
The creation of the monolith, which really is, what's the whale terminology? The Leviathan. Trump is the reincarnation of George Washington, of Thomas Jefferson, of John Adams, of all our great American patriots. If you really believe in Pennsylvania when they tried to blow his fucking head off, if you really don't, if you think that was an actual assassination or you think that was like a staged thing, I mean, I know it's not staged because that firefighter died. There were real shots. But that fucking guy did get up and say, fight, 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 after he had his ear nicked which is like a fucking miracle that he survived and he has thrived and he's in the White House happy. And he brings the lifeguard who saved that little boy and he calls out CNN. He says, "You are fake news, bitch." Like, Trump is not afraid. It's just beautiful. We have liberty in the White House. We have the manifestation of the Statue of Liberty, that woman with the shining, fiery wand. That's our Trump. He survived. And do we even know who tried to kill him? We don't. We don't know the true source and origin of this evil, but it could be Barack Hussein Obama and Steve Brennan at the CIA. It could be a lot of people that we know. They're out there and they tried to kill Donald Trump. Pepe's just a 90s Democrat. He's a far-right Nazi from Discord. He's a low IQ dingbat. He doesn't try to figure things out. This guy hasn't read a book in 20 years. He doesn't even go to the gym. Ladies and gentlemen,
I weigh in on Trumpism. Emma, welcome up. What's going on?
Hey, Norm. I was just calling, or I was just coming in, and I saw your title, and I believe it is suffering.
Well, tell us more.
Well, I think that the war is a drag down on Trump's bandwagon, and I think that the economy is suffering quite a bit. And I think Trump's group was way too focused on tearing down everything the Democrats did without paying attention to whether that it was something useful for the people. I think that's
Say it a little more slowly. Say it a little more slowly. He did everything that the Democrats did. Is that what you said?
I said what I said is that they were too focused on tearing down everything that Biden and the Democrats had done, and they weren't focusing on what was best for the people.
All right, so let's go through what he did. What did he undo that wasn't best for the people?
I'm not going to go through this list of things.
Well, name one. You made a very broad statement. You said he was too focused.
I made a broad statement because every single chance that they find something that the Democrats have done.
Okay, what's an example of that? What's an example?
Attacked USA. They attacked.
Okay, so USA. Let's go slow, Emma. USAID was not a Democrat.
I didn't say it was a Democratic. Look, that's
no. You said that he undid whatever the Democrats did, and I'm looking for an example.
Trump is the president of Israel, not America.
Many examples. He is directly attacked Biden's SAVE plan that was for like the loans, all the student loan stuff. That was a program that was.
Well, that was defeated under Biden.
I know it was done under Biden. That's what I'm saying.
It was defeated under Biden. Trump didn't undo it. It was never done.
No, he attacked these things.
He attacked it. Before he was president.
No. Look.
I'm looking.
They are consistently in the Trump camp. They're consistently attacking everything to do with Democrats. That's their main. Their main.
Give me an example. Let's hear. So, for example, what did?
They're like the Democrats do this. The fake news does this. They're attacking these institutions. They're attacking these parts of our. They're not making like statements that are for specific things. Quite frequently, they are attacking just because it is Democrat. Just because it is related to immigration. Because it is.
Well, isn't that something that everybody wanted? Was less illegal immigration?
The thing is that it's not the attack that's coming is not coming based on the choices that are best for our American people. In my opinion, And
Don't
that's
you
just
think
like,
eliminating illegal immigration is best for the people?
I think that approaching problems in order that they are most important to the American people is paramount.
No,
And
there's
I
no
think
disagreement
that's a
there.
mistake.
But you made a different statement. You said
No, I
he's
didn't.
attacking. Yeah, you did. You said he's just attacking everything the Democrats did,
He is.
regardless of whether it's good for the American people. So I said, give me an
Yes,
example.
that's true.
Okay, so
He does
now
that.
we started with immigration because that's a big thing that he ran on, and it seems like we all agree that illegal immigration is bad. So what he did is good for the American people, getting rid of illegal immigrants, right?
But he's not just getting rid of illegal immigrants. That's not
Agree.
the only thing that's happening right now.
Agree. Let's go to another thing that's happening then. Let's look at another thing he's doing. How about no tax on tips or Social Security or overtime? Good for the people?
Well, no.
That has a, by the way, that has a cap, y'all. That has a cap.
You know, Emma.
Unlimited. It's not unlimited. I want to say it's a $25,000 cap, but fact check me on that.
Emma, do you think Trump is pro-America? I mean, don't you think Trump is America? That he loves America and he wants to save and rejuvenate and make it more abundant for Americans? Hello?
No. No. I don't believe that.
He made a better deal with Mexico and Canada in terms of trade deals. That seemed to be good for America. He got the NATO nations to increase their contributions to NATO. That seems to be good for America.
Is a qualifier word for you right here, and it seems, and that is very important to me.
What's the qualifier?
Because quite frequently, it seems that if something is good for America, and people don't look at the consequential outfall from some of the things that are happening.
Okay, let's get back. What's the consequential outfall of no taxes on tips, Social Security, and overtime? What's the bad news about that?
Well, he made that overture, but then he cut Medicare for people that they were depending on. Like it doesn't help if someone gives you an M&M when they take your whole, dinner.
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that Medicare was cut at all.
Yeah, well, I hadn't.
It was not. It was not.
Medicaid.
I know this. I can tell you what.
And SNAP were cut. Medicaid
I
and
can
SNAP
tell
were
you.
cut.
I can tell you what I do know. That Trump put restrictions on Medicaid and Medi-Cal in that it was you have to if you're going to be on Medi-Cal or Medicaid, I'm going by distant memory, that you have to prove that you've been applying for work and or working at least 20 hours a week or something like that. You guys can fact check me on that one as well. But he hasn't touched Medicare.
At this point, I'd like to get back on topic, which is Trumpism dying? If so, yes or no, why? And unfortunately, I think the previous speaker has kind of led us down a little path where I'd like to get us back to the mountain, which is what is Trumpism exactly? Is it America
I haven't
first?
led you down any path. I just came in less than 5 minutes ago and was commenting on what other people were talking about. I haven't led anybody down any path.
Stop thinking so much about yourself. I'm talking about Emma.
You're the one that said the prior speaker, and I was the prior speaker before you spoke.
He means the lady.
The lady. So, I would just like to submit that this app is like a butterfly effect. And for many years, I believe this app and the people here have helped influence the way the situation has developed, which is Trump and Bobby Kennedy in the White House. And young Augustus Palante and his wife, who ran that crazy house, Preservation of the Human Race, was really America First, the preservation of America. Because if you believe that American values and American philosophy is one of the preeminent, most beautiful and wise and intelligent philosophies on the planet, you would know that we are a beacon of light for the rest of the globe, which lives in darkness, in tyranny, in Islamic fascism, in polygamy. And personally, I'm not necessarily opposed to polygamy, but I am opposed to what Steve Appel engages in, which is child grooming and talking to teenagers about their buttholes.
And I'm against what you are all about, is lying. Misstating the truth like you just did. The rest of the globe is not Muslim and is not third world countries or whatever. That's just simply not true. In fact, a majority of the globe is not what you just described it as. So I'm sorry if you're offended that the fact that I allow, that Clubhouse allows 13-year-olds, I allow a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old to come on because they speak more intelligently than you and they absolutely speak more truth than you. So I'm against your constant lies and bullshit.
Projection Mirror says what? Projection Mirror says what?
Immediately sent him down. That's really uncalled for, and it's also not true.
He just confirmed it.
Anyway,
He just confirmed. He confirmed my accusation.
I have no
Steve
idea.
Apple, the Steve Apple Show, here on Clown House.
I would say no.
It's funny, David Brooks was asked this question on PBS NewsHour, his commentary. So he thinks that both MAGA and the DSA left-wing populism are both phasing out, burning out.
I can't quite hear you. You might need to repeat, Scott.
I was saying David Brooks thinks that both MAGA / Trumpism and the DSA liberal populism are phasing out or burning out. And that, we've gone from neoliberalism to populism and something else will come. But he thinks that's just David Brooks. I mean, what does David Brooks know about? That was his opinion. But
hello, everybody. I would say it's not dying, but it will decrease.
Well, Trumpism is coming more into focus, or at least for me. We now know, I think what America is in essence, and what we should try to hold on to, what we should value and not allow to be eroded.
Hello, Megatron. I would like to answer this question very quickly and succinctly. You are absolutely not a Protestant because you have no work ethic. You're here on this app all day long wasting your time. I am complete.
Thank you, buddy. What you doing out here in Chicago, buddy? I'm gonna come and support you, man. Where you gonna be at?
I'll be outside the Jefferson Park Blue Line stop live streaming my signatures on the petitions for the February 23rd, 2027 mayoral race. Go to ChicagoMayorVote.com.
Referring to?
They're wrapped up in the concept of patriotism. So I'm not answering your question. I'm not really addressing your question. But from the best of my understanding, it's embodied in this idea of patriotism, American patriotism.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying Trump is either bringing back or eroding patriotism, one or the other. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, he's not a voter.
And you guys don't give him credit that he's someone who's kind of read Rumi. So he read Rumi like 500 times. And so, like, you know, this qualifies him to be held at a certain degree of intellectual reverence. And so that's all he expects, you know. Give him respect. And you will receive respect.
Put some respect on that.
So he's going to continue to lash out on the world if the world doesn't gracefully or graciously provide him with the grace and respect.
And he has all those phones that he only talks to himself. He doesn't ever talk to us.
This guy's gonna run for mayor. He's gonna run for Congress. He's gonna run for Senate. He's gonna run for president until someone fucking tells John
Actually,
what the fuck.
you know what's a
is
better
up.
spot? I'm gonna cut this stuff outside.
Yeah, cut
I'm
that
making
shit
fun of the
outside.
system.
I'm cutting that shit outside.
Dang, bro. What happened, bro? Alright, let's see.
Okay, fine.
Hey, John, when you win mayor, will you take an EP on the Goyen?
Well, our Chicago mayor claims that America is stealing from black and brown communities and using it to bomb brown communities in the Middle East. And I gotta say, there are three pillars that hold up society, which is truth, justice, and peace. And the enforcement of the law and security is universal. Everyone here in this room doesn't want to be a victim. And so if you want to use law enforcement in order to achieve your security state, well, you better have big balls and you better have the technology and the capability to go exercise your will. Otherwise, you'll reap the consequences of your actions. And if anybody here has ever started a fight at a bar and then ended up losing the fight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hello?
I think someone already shook his hand, Smile.
Yeah, I literally fight at a bar, but I also got snake. I think I got beat up every time I fought. I don't even know if I've ever won a fight in my entire life.
Anyways, there was a thought I wanted to complete.
Yeah.
The existence of Christians and the persistence of Christians in the discussion over the ontology of God is probably divine providence to highlight us and keeps us discussing that God is a personal being. So Christendom, in a way, and the reality of Muslims might be a blessing in disguise. Because without this tether, you know, it's seems like the human mind in trying to understand the scale of God somehow feels that the person of God is a factor that can be, you know, considered a value of one. So, you know, you multiply times one, it's not, you know.
Well, you could say that the attention. Well, the problem is a COW doesn't give you a glass of milk in the morning. We have this word attention economy, which is basically actually the source and the tethering problem. We don't have real people doing real things. We have people just watching videos all day. That's a slave population. We've morphed the plantation into the cell phone, and people can't stop engaging with the cell phone. It doesn't matter what variety of engagement it is. If clicking your phone was productivity, everybody would be a fucking millionaire at this point. But, you know, there was a company called like mypoints.com or something back in the day where if you would click an ad, you would actually get a share of the revenue. And so now that's how it should be, right? And so all these Democrat socialists don't realize that, like, if you wanted to legislate income through the platform, That could be one solution to the affordability crisis. Hello?
Base economy, because any impact that you generate will be attributed to you. So it might be through financial. Oh, hold on, some white ladies coming to talk to me. I gotta be nice.
Gotta stop that shit.
I kind of have an idea of where Nargis gets some of our ideas now since John popped in the room.
I didn't even know that lady was in the room. She's still in the room?
And I don't know, I walked into that Muslim room this morning and she was beating the crap out of those Muslims. I had to step in and defend them. I was like,
just lashing out because I exposed them like Jesus exposed the Pharisees.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're at your level, Mikhail.
And then I brought Nicodemus from among them, and he testified against them.
Is that spelled with an F or
my slave master's wife left.
Yo.
Is it Nicodemus or is it Nicodemus?
Nicodemus. The problem with Nicodemus is that he's only in John.
So what?
So I don't know. We don't have any. Bank. What's his name? Bank. Not the one that's in here. Yeah, Banks. Yeah, Banks. First time I started talking on here, I mentioned Nicodemus.
You talking about that Muslim guy from Canada?
Yeah, Banks. Yeah, Banks. Yeah. He knows mad shit about Christianity. Like, he only talks about Christianity.
He was a Christian.
Right, yeah, he does. Bro, this guy I was arguing with this guy.
Banks used to be a Christian.
He knows more about Christianity than most Christians.
Yeah, because he was a Christian.
Yeah, he knows that.
You know,
I was arguing with him one time and this nigga like offered to fight.
But Banks is